Howdy, friends. Doc South with you. And just remembering back when I lived in North Carolina, city of Wilson, my I remember my folks came down. They wanted to visit, and I was pretty much living there by myself. I mean, I had my share of friends, but didn't no relatives to speak of. And heck, I'm always happy. I was always happy to see my folks, and because usually they brought money. Yeah, if no, they if they didn't have a penny, it was still worth it to see them. They were good parents, and they of course they came down. I had to take them on the tour of my one room apartment. Actually, it was two rooms: a living room, which was a bedroom, and then a kitchen and a bathroom. So two and a half. Yeah, they had to take the tour. I drove them around town a little bit and showed they wanted to stay at a motel nearby. I showed them where that was and all that. And they asked, hey, they said, could we go see you're with the rescue squad here, right? I said, yep, sure am. You wanna go? I'm sure you'll be more than welcome to come take a tour. Come on. And so off we went. We pulled into the squad hall, went in. Of course, the dispatcher sees me. It says, "Hey, South, what you doing? You on duty tonight?" I said, "Well, no, sir. I think it was Mr. Trent." I said, "No, I've got my folks here. See, here's my folks, and I'm just taking them." They asked if they could see the squad hall. Well, he said, "Well, sure as heck they can." And we're happy to see him. And of course, the dispatcher gets up out of his chair, Mr. Trent there, and starts shaking hands with him. And they showed a little bit of small talk. And I said, "Well, let me, if you want, you guys, I'll show you around the squad hall. It's not a whole lot to see, but I showed them the meeting room and I showed them the break room. And they admired the TV we had to watch. And I showed them the bunk room where no one was in it at the time. It was still, only 8 o'clock at night. No one hit that bunk room till about 2 in the morning. The way that town was. Some nights. Sometimes you never hit it. And I said, "Come on, I'll show you the truck bay, all of our equipment and stuff. Now, the duty crew might be here. You can." And so I go walking in, and I see a few of the members are sitting around a table. They're drinking a Coca-Cola, playing hearts, always playing hearts. And I don't think any money ever exchanged hands. It's just, I owe you $5. Yeah, but wait a minute, you owe me $3. Okay, so then it's only $2 I got to pay you. So I owe you $2. Yeah, it was like that. I don't think I don't think anyone ever squared up. Now to think about it, and a bunch of guys were talking about this and that, and some were leaning over the railing, looking at whatever it was the dispatcher was watching on TV. It was Saturday night or Friday night. It was probably wrestling, and I said, "Come on, I'll show you." Oh, the dispatcher hollered at me. Hey, he says, "South, would you mind?" He says, "Got all these sheets. Would you stick them in the bedding room, not the bedroom, but these are sheets for the ambulance." Yeah, I said, "Sure, sure." I grab a big bundle of stuff. The hospital laundry had just dropped over, and so I'm putting them in. I'm showing the folks that, and they were admiring. I think we had 3 or 4 ambulances. We had a crash truck and I think a boat on a trailer, and then all of a sudden the door, the truck bay, starts making one of the doors to the truck bay, the garage door, starts beep 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 like that, and it comes up, and in comes the duty crew. They're backing in. They're coming back from a call, and my father says, "Wow, this is, boy, look at how they do that." And the guys come out, and their shirts are all bloody, and yeah. They'd been on a call, and they said, "Oh God, man, we got to change." And they're taking off their shirts, and all of a sudden they see my mom. Now they're embarrassed because down south in the summer you don't wear a t-shirt. You got to be kidding. You could die. The less you wear, the better. And they're, "Oh, ma'am, we're sorry. Oh God." Mom says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I raised 2 boys. Don't." And I got old Blue Eyes here. I said, "These are my folks." They said, "No way." Well, I'll be doggone. They come walking over, they put their shirts on, fresh shirts, and buttoned them up, and said, well, it's a pleasure to meet you. And don't worry, we washed our hands at the hospital, at the ER. Just couldn't get our clothes taken care of. And they're just, oh, they're making small talk. And my father said, so what was with all the blood? What'd you run into? Oh, it was nothing much. A fella got in a bar fight and he got himself stabbed in the arm. But he was bleeding pretty bad. We stopped the bleeding and he'll get some stitches, and then I think the police are going to arrest him. He says, well, that guy's in for a good night, said my father. Yeah. And Mom's saying, oh gosh, you guys really, you went and took care of someone who was, yeah, he was still fighting a bit. He was kind of drunk. And they're just having the best time talking. And they said, so what, you folks from, so you're old Doc's parents here, huh? They said, yeah, we raised him. And they said, well, you raised a good fella. He's all right for a Yankee. They always had to say that. Yeah. And I just, and my father said, well, they asked where my father, what are you doing down here anyway? You thinking of moving in? Boy, that'd be great. And no, they said, we're just going down to Cherry Point, the base down there in the southern part of the state. That's where my wife and I met back during World War II. And they said, what, World War II? You're down at Cherry Point? That's like that's a Marine Air Base. My father said, well, I was a pilot. You were a pilot? I'll be doggone. He says, dang. One of the duty crew says, I'll be doggone. I said, well, what'd you fly? My father said, well, I didn't get into combat, but I was next. But the war ended. Well, he said, that don't count for the fact that the war ended before you could get into combat. That don't matter a hill of beans. You learned how to fly those things. You were ready. If you didn't get a call, well, at least you didn't get called into service, into combat. That's okay. You still were there and ready to do it. He said, yeah, I was. So I did crash 2 planes. They said, you crashed 2 planes? What kind? He said, well, one was a torpedo bomber, I think, and one was a Corsair. You flew those Corsairs with the gull wing? And oh, my heavens. Sir, let me shake your hand again, just for good luck. And you crashed one of them? He says, yeah, right into the dirt. He said, oh, my heavens. Look at you. Were you hurt? My father said, no, not really. I got knocked a little woozy, but nothing too bad. They said, well, I'll be dog. You survived a plane crash? I survived 2 plane crashes. They said, how'd that happen? They said, well, the Corsair, basically, I got too close we were taking off in formation, got too close to the guy in front of me, and I put it into the dirt, lost buoyancy on the wings from prop wash from the guy in front of me. Oh, man. And you walked out of that? He says, yes, I did. He says, I was pretty scared, but I did. Hey, well, I'll be, man. And then they said, well, what was the other one? He says, well, I had to land without wheels once, and the plane split in half. And whoa, man, tell you. Man, they're looking at me. They're looking at me like, why didn't you tell us about your folks here and your dad? God, love a duck. Why, I said I didn't want to brag. Oh, you can brag on something like that. Man, that's all right. Lord have mercy. And my father, he said to them, he says, I look at you guys all covered with blood and all that, and you all these things you do. He says, I'm really amazed at you guys. He says, I don't think I could do what you do. And they said, well, we certainly couldn't do what you did. Good heavens, man, that's something else. I mean, we drive the ambulances pretty fast. We ain't doing no 200 miles an hour. My father said, well, actually, Corsair flew about 400. He said, 400 mile an hour? Oh, my God. He's there. But was back and forth, a mutual admiration society. And I got to say, that conversation made me feel so good after having not much luck in the Navy, an honorable discharge, but still a convenience of the government. I always felt kind of bad about that. and had really wanted to be in. Felt kind of ashamed of it. But I remember as we were getting ready to leave, they were going to be getting another call. A dispatcher said, "Stand by, the phone's ringing." And these guys were getting into their shirts and, their better shirts, cleaner shirts. And they said, "Man, we sure admire you, sir." And he says, "Well, again, my father and mom too said, we don't know how you do what you do. Well, they said it can get dangerous, but nothing like you." And he said, "Well, I don't know. You guys got a lot of responsibility." He says, "I'm really, really proud of you guys. I'm proud of my son too. Look at this." And I remember him saying, he says, as the guys left, they got a call and they're roaring the ambulance and the siren already going. They're not even out of the driveway. Some horrible thing going on somewhere in town. And I remember my folks looking at me saying, "You got some good friends here." I said, I do. And they said, "You know something? We're very proud of you. You're doing all right doing this. It's a good thing. Maybe you didn't get the service thing in, but maybe this is your service." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm trying to look at it that way." Doggone. But they actually, I know when I was a teenager, I never heard much about this. "We're proud of you." And I don't blame them. Yeah, oh my God, it was a rotten kid. But they were very, very proud. And I felt good. And honestly, I kind of carried that with me when I did the rescue, when I was on some of the calls that would get to be a bit too much. I remember thinking how the folks said that and how they admired what I was up to. Yep, pretty cool. I had good friends down there, and I had good folks. Anyway, hey friends, I hope that's the case for you too. God bless, and we'll catch you later, okay? Bye-bye now.